Hello and welcome into another episode of Locked On Wolves. Today on the show, Rob Dillingham looked every bit the part of the number 8 overall pick in this year's NBA draft in the Summer League finale. We'll talk all about how dominant he was and why it's exactly the type of performance that the Timberwolves wanted to see out of him. It's all upcoming. Welcome in. You are Locked On Wolves.
You are Locked On Timberwolves, your daily Minnesota Timberwolves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Wolves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Ben Beecken. I'm the host of Locked On Wolves. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, they're over now. We're in the dog days of summer. We really are in terms of sports. The sports stop sportsing like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Summer League finale. We're going to talk about Rob Dillingham especially, but also Josh Minott. We'll talk about, actually, I think I'm going to do studs and duds today. We're going to look at players that played well and players that didn't in the Summer League finale. I think there's actually a pretty clear dividing line here. There were some guys that were disappointing. There were some guys that were great. So we'll do that. I don't want to do full Summer League takeaways today. We'll do that tomorrow. But I want to talk about the finale and spend a lot of time on Dillingham and Minott and also Leonard Miller today. And then also a couple notes on the Olympics and some upcoming notes on the Wolves schedule will be announced in the next several weeks here. And there's some, I guess, a little bit of some rumors out there about what might happen in terms of the Wolves schedule, some big dates that the Wolves might get this year on the NBA calendar. So we'll get to all that here today. A big thank you off the top for making Locked On Wolves your first listen every single day. Of course, this show is free and available everywhere. That includes YouTube as well as all of your favorite audio platforms. Wherever you like to listen to podcasts, you can find Locked On Wolves. You can also watch on the Locked On Sports Minnesota app on both Roku and Amazon Fire TV. You can follow on X at Locked On T Wolves and also at Beecken with two B's, two E's, CKEN. All right, so the Timberwolves Summer League finale was on Sunday. We did not have a show Monday. This is the first time in I don't know how many years that I've missed a Monday through Friday show. I had some travel complications. So getting caught up now today on everything that happened Sunday, or getting the show caught up, I should say, on everything that happened Sunday in the Summer League finale. So the plan for the week very quickly is to do this today, to do overall summer takeaways on Wednesday. And then we'll take a look at where we stand in terms of the Timberwolves rotation and what to expect over the course of the rest of the summer. That's how we'll do the rest of the week. And we're still daily Monday through Friday right now through the month. So lots to cover this week still. And obviously the Olympics, we'll talk about that at the end of the show today, but that's going to take up a lot of Wolves at the Olympics and also Team USA. We're going to talk a lot about that over the next 2 weeks. Of course, the Olympics kick off this coming weekend. So that will be a major topic here moving forward. All right. So Timberwolves summer finale, of course, they went 3-1 in pool play, if you want to call it that, or bracket. It's not bracket play, whatever. The group play in Summer League. There isn't really a good name for it. Regular schedule play or something. But they lost that game, the third game, I guess, and there were, I believe, 4 teams that went 4-0. So they were not in the official 4-team playoff bracket in Summer League, but they were the best team that wasn't, and they dominated the Orlando Magic for most of the game on Sunday. They ended up winning by 15. They actually had a huge lead, and then Orlando came all the way back, and then Minnesota pulled away again at the end. And this game was a lot of Rob Dillingham. And for somebody who, coming into Game 5 of the Summer League, we talked a lot about him at the end of last week. He was shooting under 30% from the field so far in Summer League. And he still had a lot of really nice moments. I think it was the second game, his assist to turnover ratio was nice. He played really well. He had some really good passes. But then the rest of the time, even that, it was like the process was there, but it was the actual execution of the passes and the actual making of the shots. The shot selection hasn't been too bad. There's been a couple of shots forced here and there, but that happens to everybody. It was more just the shots weren't going in. And same thing with the passing. The assist numbers were good. The turnover numbers were a little high. but it wasn't like he was forcing much. It was just that the passes were not quite on target, or guys weren't making shots, or on turnovers, he was maybe a little bit overzealous to try and get the Wolves to play faster. But that's surely the mandate that he's been given by the Wolves coaching staff is, hey, we want to play faster. You're a big part of this. Let's push the pace when we can. And obviously Summer League is kind of a great sandbox to do that within, right? Well, in this game, it all came together. And this was the exact type of performance that the Timberwolves want to see out of Rob Dillingham. And obviously he's not going to play 32 minutes a night in the regular season, but if this is the type of performance he can put together, you cut those minutes in half, and if he puts up 12 and 6, which is roughly half of what he did, he had 25 and 12, so call it 12 and 6. They'll take 12 and 6 out of Rob Dillingham in 16, 18 minutes off the bench every single night. He had 25 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 3 of 7 on threes, 12 assists, 5 turnovers, but you can deal with that if there's 12 assists attached to it, 2 steals and 3 rebounds in a team high 32 minutes. There were a handful of plays that really stuck out to me when it came to Rob Dillingham's performance. The first one was, well, actually, there were a couple really, really good ones early in the game, but it was right after he had made a tough shot and then had made more of a simple pass for an assist. And then he got into the paint and had a really tough wraparound pass. I can't remember who was the beneficiary on the dunk, but for a dunk. It was just a fantastic, like classic, like a Steph Marbury late 90s pass, like got into the paint, jumped, wrapped around for the assist. He also had a couple of really impressive alley-oop lobs, one to Leonard Miller that was really nice when he was cutting baseline, and Miller was cutting baseline, Dillingham threw the lob in the perfect spot. And then in the second half, he had a cross-court bullet to the left corner for a Joe Wieskamp 3. And Dillingham came off a screen, and the angle was really tough. He obviously saw this play out in his head before it happened, and it's that sort of point guard skill that some folks weren't sure that Rob Dillingham had natural point guard ability in his basketball DNA, if you will, because he's a score first guy. But I beg to differ. And I said this after the Wolves drafted him. I think he had moments at Kentucky where it was clear that he knew exactly what he was doing as a passer, and it was seeing plays develop in his mind before they actually happened. And that's what this was. He came around a screen and knew immediately he was going to whip the pass to the opposite corner to Joe Wieskamp. And it's a dangerous pass if it's not a perfect pass, but it was a perfect pass. And it was right in the shooter's pocket. Wieskamp thankfully paid it off with the made 3. And that was just a perfect example of being a floor general and seeing the pass before it actually opened up, or before he had the opportunity to make the throw or to make the pass. Very impressive. I would say the majority of his 12 assists were like legit him throwing guys open, whether it was an alley-oop, the wraparound pass. I mean, I just named 4 of his 12 assists right there, and those were all not your conventional, like, hey, I'm swinging the ball around the perimeter, this guy's going to hit a spot up 3. They required some effort, and all assists are not necessarily created equal. I mean, to be able to, it's almost like a quarterback in football throwing a receiver open. There's a little bit of that here with Rob Dillingham. And the overall feel for when to squeeze the trigger for himself, when to get somebody else involved, has been really good. And in this game, there may have been a couple shots forced, but he was still 11 of 18 from the field. And that'll play. 3 of 7 outside the arc, that'll play. So, and also in fact, there was really only, I think, 2 shots. There was one ill-advised 3-pointer that was a clanker. And then there was a crossover step back mid-range 2 from the right side of the floor in the first half that he made, but not a shot Chris Finch is going to be smiling about on the bench if it happens, even if he makes it in a regular season game. But still, it showed the shot making ability, the handle, and also the shot making ability. I mean, like that whole sequence is the shot making ability to get himself open and then actually make the shot. But the handle and then the shooting ability for Rob Dillingham was all on display there. This was just a really well-rounded game from Dillingham, and he was aggressive defensively too. The whole team was really in the jerseys of Orlando in this game. By the way, Orlando started Jarrett Culver. Remember Jarrett Culver? He started and scored 16 points in 27 minutes. Also, another former highly thought of first round pick, Theo Maledon, played for them in this, and Charlie Brown Jr., who's played some NBA minutes the last couple of years too. So an interesting Orlando Magic squad. But all that to say, really strong Rob Dillingham performance. We got to talk Minott. I'm excited about it. I want to talk Leonard Miller. We'll do some quick studs and duds. Then we'll move on to some Olympics stuff and some other things too. It's all coming. Today's episode of Locked On Wolves is brought to us by our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Do you watch Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? If so, no doubt you have to turn down the volume because of all the shouting. Instead, make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right. Let's talk about Josh Minott. Josh Minott, to me, was other than maybe Dacian Nix, who this was, by the way, Dacian's worst game of the summer league. I would say Josh Minott probably did the most for himself in terms of. We'll talk more about this on tomorrow's show, more of the bigger picture stuff and throughout the week. But he probably did the most for himself in terms of like what a poor summer league showing and what a really good summer league showing could be, and relative to what potential expectations for Minott are. Here's what I mean by that. Rob Dillingham is going to be the backup point guard unless something crazy happens. So he didn't play well for much of summer league, and he was great in this last game. I don't think anything changes with what the Wolves' calculus is on what he'll bring to the table. Leonard Miller probably is never. He's not going to get rotation minutes unless there's a rash of injuries. And it was really good to see progress for him. And it probably helps the long term, like, hey, do we think this guy can help us, a year, 18 months from now? Is he good enough to be our 12th guy to like have him around in case of emergency and continue to develop him? I think he's probably helped himself there. Jalen Clark, I guess, maybe had some stuff to gain. He didn't play in the last couple of games here because he tweaked something, and then I think they're just being cautious after the Achilles, returning from the Achilles surgery. But I don't know. I think it's kind of like a narrow range of outcomes for him. Like he's probably going to see some time as like a next line of defense as a point of attack perimeter defender, but he's not going to be a top 8-9 rotation guy. Josh Minott, on the other hand, has a real shot at earning minutes as like the ninth man in the rotation. And we've talked a lot about this. Him, Terrence Shannon, who hurt his toe, I think, in game 4, so he didn't play in game 5 of the summer league. Those two are the two that are really kind of battling out in my mind for some of those rotation minutes. And Minott, I think, really helped himself. And we'll dig a bit into the overall summer numbers on Wednesday. I want to focus more specifically on the final game today. But Minott was really good once again. 19 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 1 of 4 outside the arc, 4 of 4 at the line, 4 rebounds in 30 minutes, 3 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover. Now, you'd like him to rebound a little better than 4 in 30 minutes. You'd like him to have more than 1 stock. 1 of 4 outside the arc, like if he hangs in the 33 to 35% range, that's okay for what it is. His first one was early in the game. It was his first 3-point attempt, and it was in rhythm, looked really confident and smooth. And then he didn't make any other threes the rest of the game, missed all the rest of his attempts. But this was just another, especially early, the picture of activity for Josh Minott. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to provide energy, effort, lots of steals and blocks, hopefully rebounds, hopefully more than one offensive rebound. But he played really well again and attacked the rim too, getting to the line for 4 free throw attempts, tried to poster somebody early in the game. I think that was also first quarter, and ended up getting to the free throw line for 2 free throw attempts and made them both. This is exactly what they need out of him. If it's only 12 minutes a game, I think he's got a shot at earning 10, 12 minutes a game. Some nights he might not play. Some nights he might play 12 minutes. But he can give this Timberwolves bench a shot in the arm, and he can guard multiple positions. He can just be out there, be big and athletic. And I think between him and Terrence Shannon, and to a lesser extent, Jalen Clark, they've got guys who can give you some juice with that 9th or 10th rotation spot and really make an impact. It doesn't have to be a defined, 20 minutes a game or like we need you to score. It's just a shot in the arm. It's energy, effort, defense, and anything you can give offensively. In the case of both Minott and TJ Shannon, getting to the rim, wreaking havoc that way, putting the pressure on the defense, trying to force them to foul you, get them into the penalty, get yourself to the free throw line, create offensive rebound opportunities for your teammates. Just be a live ball player out there, which is a real crazy oversimplification, but that's what I mean. And both Minott and TJ Shannon have shown that they can do that. And Minott did that in this game for sure. Leonard Miller, another strong game for him too. 20 points and 8 rebounds, 6 of them offensive rebounds, 9 of 15 shooting, 2 of 3 on 3-pointers. The shot selection was maybe not perfect, but they went down. They looked good. 1 block for him, 2 assists, just 1 turnover in 30 minutes. So, again, Leonard Miller's probably, after everybody I just listed, Shannon, Minott, even Jalen Clark, he's probably like next on the list in terms of guys to see rotation minutes. He's not truly their backup center, but he's best cast as a, small ball 4 or 5, even though he plays more like a 2 or a 3. So it's still a little bit unclear what his role would even be. He's not going to have a rotation role this year, but I think he played well in Summer League. And again, we'll look at the full body of work here later in the week in terms of Vegas. But I think he showed more than enough to suggest that the Wolves should continue giving him opportunities to earn a future spot. All right, real quickly, studs and duds from this game. Obviously, Dillingham, we talked about him, 25 on 18 shots, 3 of 7 outside the arc, 12 assists, 5 turnovers, 2 steals, 3 rebounds for Dillingham. Best game of summer by far for him. Leonard Miller's a stud, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 9 of 15 shooting, 2 of 3 on threes, 2 assists and 1 block. And also Josh Minott, who we just talked about, 19, 4 and 3, 7 of 12 shooting, and a steal for Minott. I guess that's. Oh, I also got to give. I'm going to break a rule here and go 4 studs. Joe Wieskamp just shot the ball extremely well and continued to be aggressive. He played, I think, in 4 of the 5 games. This is the game he played the most, and he played about 12 minutes, 13 points on 4 of 5 shooting, made all 3 of his 3-point attempts. And I had kind of said before summer, and then after he got a few minutes early in Summer League, that Wieskamp's supposed to be a sharpshooter, and he hasn't been as a pro in his brief time at the NBA level a couple years ago, 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and also in the G League. The percentages just aren't as good as they need to be if he's going to stick in the NBA. And he shot the ball really well here. 13 points on 5 shots, will cut it, 2 rebounds and 1 turnover in 12 minutes. But yeah, good game for Wieskamp. Good for him. He's likely back in the G League for somebody this year. I don't know if it's Iowa or somewhere else, but good game for him. All right, duds. I'm going to go Jesse Edwards. This is a bit of a weird one because he did score 11 points on 5 shots and he was 5 of 8 at the line, but he had 0 rebounds in 22 minutes and also committed 5 fouls. He kind of alternated, and again, I'll say this again, we'll go full body of work, full summer stats, all that stuff later in the week. He kind of alternated strong defensive games with kind of careless ones where I would be hopeful that his positional awareness and his understanding of verticality was ready. And then games where it just kind of felt like he was in the way and fouling when he shouldn't have been. And then you compound that with the 5 fouls in 22 minutes with 0 rebounds as the starting center for your team and by far the biggest player on the floor for the team. That's not great. He's got to be more active on the glass, and everybody puts up a stinker every now and again. But I wouldn't say I'm like alarmed by it, but can't have 0 rebounds in 22 minutes if you're the starting center. You just can't. I guess Dacian Nix, I know he had 4 steals and he had 7 assists still, but he was just 2 of 7 shooting. He also had 6 turnovers in this game. It just didn't quite look himself. I don't know if this was just like, I mean, he played less than he had earlier in summer. It kind of felt like he was, as much as I praised him early in summer league for like, hey, this dude really wants to play and play hard, even though he's been in the NBA for the last few years. It kind of felt like he hit that point where like, all right, I don't want to be here anymore. And like, I'm not trying to be unfair to Dacian Nix, but it was like, I've been here for over a week. Let's go home. That's kind of what it felt like for Dacian Nix in this one, but still really nice summer for him. All right. Few random, kind of not completely random, few notes about USA basketball, Timberwolves schedule, all that stuff. We'll do that next, and that's how we'll close the show here today. Today's episode of Locked On Wolves is brought to us by our sponsors, our title sponsors today at FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop, but we are here in the dog days of summer officially. Baseball's back underway after the All-Star weekend, but it's baseball and it's WNBA, and that's it. NFL training camps kick off this week, so we're just a couple weeks away from NFL preseason. At least we have the Olympics. That's going to help. But overall, this time of year, the sports are not sportsing like I want them to, and it causes me to yearn for the days of November and March, like the best sports months of the year, November and March, hands down. But FanDuel lets you keep the sports going no matter what, whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood, and that includes right now, even in the dog days of summer. This summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone all day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, so let's start with some Timberwolves schedule stuff. This was reported in the Mark Stein Substack a couple days ago that the Wolves are, quote, under strong consideration to play an opening night game on TNT, likely following, I think typically the ring ceremony of the defending champs is the first game of the season. And so the Wolves would potentially be the second game of the doubleheader. I don't know, probably, what is it, a 6 or 6:30 p.m. Central Celtics tip, and then the Wolves would be the 9 or 9:30 local, I guess, tip. So that's cool for the Wolves to play an opening night. Not something that, I'm willing to bet. Speaking of our next subject, that the NBA is going to see how Team USA shakes out, and if Ant indeed is kind of like receiving of the torch being passed, like LeBron is. We'll talk here in a minute about what happened the other night against Germany in the exhibition, but LeBron passing the torch to Ant, and Ant's coming off the bench, but he's also closing games for Team USA. If his star continues to rise internationally, which I don't see why it wouldn't, then the NBA is going to be even more motivated to kind of continue this transition of power, if you will, to Anthony Edwards. And then the second piece was, and Stein specifically mentions Anthony Edwards, that the Wolves are under strong consideration to also play on Christmas Day, which wouldn't be a huge shock. Remember, they played on Christmas Day the Jimmy Butler year, I think, and then that might have been the last time. Was that the last time? Was when Jimmy Butler was on the team, or maybe it was the year he was traded. They had the I think it was the Prince City jersey, because they had the white and purple Christmas jerseys, I believe. So I guess it has been a little while. So that'd be cool for them to play on Christmas again. So everybody needs to just, I guess, pay attention. Whatever you usually do on Christmas, we'll find out here in the next few weeks what time the Wolves play. It'll certainly shift some of our plans on that day. So looking forward to the Wolves actually receiving some national TV love and attention. I mean, conference finals plus Anthony Edwards. Like if they don't now, then I don't know. They have to be getting some seriously coveted TV slots this year. Okay, Olympics. So Team USA had some tough moments, some touch and go moments, I guess is a better way to say it, over the course of their friendly schedule of their scrimmages that they played. They only beat Germany by 4, and they were trailing going to the fourth quarter, but then LeBron went off. And Ant has been coming off the bench, but he's mostly been closing games. And of course, because these are the scrimmages, the minutes are all kind of wonky. Like LeBron only played 18 minutes in this game. I remember they're only 40-minute games, but 8 of 11 shooting, knocked down both of his threes, like had what did he score in this game? 23, I think, or 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And like Drew Holiday played only 12 minutes. Nobody played more than 25. Ant led bench players with 20 minutes played off the bench. And by the way, Devin Booker started and played 25 minutes, but shot just 1 of 6 from the field in this game. Ant was 4 of 7. All of them 2-point attempts. Did not attempt a 3-point shot. 3 of 4 at the line. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. So, of course, the rotations will be something to keep an eye on. And will Ant play more and more as the Olympic schedule goes on? Or will it be more of a, like, he'll be 4th or 5th in minutes, but he's going to function as the 6th man and close games over, here it was over Drew Holiday, but could it be, over Devin Booker if Devin Booker's struggling? I that would be surprising because I guess everybody can shoot it on this team basically, but you want Devin Booker shooting on the floor. You want his isolation scoring ability and catch and shoot scoring ability. So be interesting to see how Steve Kerr handles that. But at any rate, that's something to keep an eye on is what does this look like? And Ant's had some moments. He's had some defensive moments. He's had some jaw-dropping crossovers and dunks. He had a big dunk in the Germany game. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. The first Team USA game, as long as this time zone thing is cooperating the way that I think it is, if I'm reading this correctly, Team USA plays on Sunday morning at 10:15 Central. They play Serbia in Group C. Of course, so they play Serbia Sunday, and then okay, that's women's. I was going to say it wouldn't make sense for them to play consecutive days. The women's team plays Monday, I think, afternoon, and then the Team USA men's doesn't play again until the 31st, which is a week from Wednesday. So they get Monday, Tuesday off in between, and that's a 2 p.m. game against South Sudan, which isn't going to be a super easy game either. I mean, like, it's a tough bracket. Serbia, then South Sudan. And then after that, the Wolves. I'm going to do that a bunch covering the Olympics, by the way. Then the U.S. gets Puerto Rico the game after that. So tough schedule upcoming for Team USA. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. And, of course, Anthony Edwards, the opportunities he gets for Team USA are going to be a ton of fun to watch. I mean, remember when Kevin Love played for Team USA back in 2012? That was great. He ended up being a big part of that team. But it's going to be really fun to watch Ant do his thing on an international stage. All right. That's all we have today. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to spend some time later this week talking Summer League. We're going to talk about putting a bow on Summer League entirely. Like, what are the takeaways? What does the rotation look sitting here right now at the end of July? If the season started on August 1st, what would the rotation look like for Chris Finch and his coaching staff? What's the depth chart look like for the Wolves? What might they do at the end of the roster? They still have a roster spot open. We'll talk about some of the details. There were some details reported on PJ Dozier's contract here over the past few days. We'll cover all that stuff. And then, of course, lots of Olympics starting next week. That's what we'll do over the next couple of weeks. We're still daily through this week and through really through next week as well. So big thank you for making Locked On Wolves your first listen every day. Of course, this show is free and available everywhere. That includes YouTube as well as all of your favorite audio platforms. You could also watch on the Locked On Sports Minnesota app on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Of course, the Locked On Wolves podcast is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Remember, the Locked On Network is your local experts on all the biggest stories. Once again, I'm Ben Beecken. This is the Locked On Wolves podcast, and we'll catch you next time.